Architecture is the most essential feature to shape and understand the daily life of a society. It is the architectural structure that determines how people spend their time in the city. Aside from social life, architectural structure of a city also determines the economic activity, politics, and transportation. The architectural constructions that were built in various purposes in Ankara from 15th to 20th centuries had an impact on different social aspects such as religion, economics, transportation, and politics, which in turn affects people's lives in terms of the increase in communication within the society. Suluhan. Suluhan, also known as Hasanpaşa Han, is the biggest inn in Ankara. Located in Hacıdoğan district, the inn was built by Hasanpaşa in the early 15th century during the reign of Beyazıt II. Its original purpose was to provide and serve food for the poor. The house also contained small shops and separate bathhouses for both sexes. In 1685, Mehmet Emin Efendi bought the Suluhan and he partly rebuilt and expanded it for a dervish association. The Han had coffee and yarn trade during the Ottoman era. After it was partly destroyed by a fire in 1929, it was used as a vegetable market. Coffee and yarn had a large-scale market, and considering both yarn and coffee are crucial elements of the Turkish culture, a considerable contribution to the Ottoman economy came from these trades. Specifically, coffee had real importance in Turkish culture, and drinking a cup of coffee with relatives, friends, and loved ones has always been a major social activity. Since coffee has this major place in the culture, knowing the crucial details of how to make a good cup of coffee and what separates a good coffee bean from a bad one was a popular intellectual knowledge. This made people wander around the coffee bean distributors and sharing a conversation about the bean quality and the delicacies of brewing a delicious cup of Turkish coffee. Thus, coffee became a common ground for chit-chat among people from different social statuses. To this extent, Suluhan is the major coffee trading center since its opening, making the Han a major social hub in Ankara.
Construction of the Turkey's railway system began during the late Ottoman Empire in 1856. The first station building of Ankara was called then as Steering Wheel Building, and it was one of the first modern buildings in the city. The modern mayor at the time, Abidin Pasha, initiated the expansion of Ankara by constructing 200 miles of railroad. The station is located in Ulus, the city center. The opening of the Ankara station was a hugely significant historical event that it was the cover of an important national journal called Servet-i Fünun. Since railway network contributes to a country's social and economic status, building a train station in a particular city would also make a positive impact on that city's social and economic development. One of the most fundamental railway networks passed through Ankara. So, the city's main train station, that is, the Ankara station, was built in 1892. Scholars suggest that, during the Ottoman period, Ankara was considered to be the most important city of production, in which Ankara wool was manufactured and traded. The wealthy merchants belonging to bourgeoisie class were accommodated in Ottoman Empire Ankara. This implies that Ankara had the economical power to be involved in the list of important cities of the era in early 19th century. However, at the end of the 19th century, Ankara started to lose its significance as a trade center because of the industrial products coming from the west to the country. Nevertheless, in 1892, the city became a station in the developing railroad network and displayed hints of recovery because of the improvement that the Ankara station provided. Therefore, the railway construction in Ankara with the opening of Ankara station helped to lower costs, reduce unemployment, boost productivity, support trade, and it also caused an increase in population distribution and the town density along the railway routes.
To understand the importance of the Committee of Union and Progress headquarter building, let's look at the history of late Ottoman era. When the Sultan Abdülhamit demolished the first constitution and began to apply an oppressive authoritarian regime, Unionists, the Young Turks, arose as an opposition movement. Committee of Union and Progress was established as a political movement and a party in 1889. They were influential in the announcement of Second Constitution and they gained power in 1908. In 1912, they became the ruling party. During their ruling period, until 1918, they built headquarters in different cities around the Ottoman territory to increase the support and strengthen the relationship from people. The building in Ankara was constructed in 1915 as one of these headquarters. The architect of the building was Salim Bey, and its construction was coordinated by Hciv Bey. The two-floored building was designed in the style that was called as National. The buildings in the National style revived classical Ottoman architecture by using its common architectural elements such as pointed arches and wide eaves. The buildings in that style were designed in a symmetrical manner, and the facades were covered with stone. In the case of the committee building, the stone used was the local Ankara stone, andesite. The construction began in 1915, but as it was the time of war, the construction couldn't be completed. The building could only be completed by the help of the citizens of Ankara during the War of Independence, as it was being used as the parliament building between 1920 and 1924. After 1924, it was the headquarters of Republican People's Party. After 1961, the building turned into War of Independence Museum.
Hacı Bayram Veli was a Turkish poet and a scholar of Islam who lived in 14th century. He was born in a village near Ankara called Solfasol. The mosque was designed by Cavit Bey and built in 1428, before 1 year of Hacı Bayram Veli died. It was located in an area called Hakimiyet-i Milliye Square, which in the present day called Ulus. The mosque has a rectangular shape and its ceiling is made of wood. Hacı Bayram Veli's tomb is also located near the mosque, and it was and still is a meeting point for people to go and pray. Islamic monasteries were places where people can go and learn about religion in those days of Ottoman. Those monasteries played a huge role in social life. Hacı Bayram Veli was one of the religion men who built an Islamic monastery. His monastery was also in the Hakimiyet-i Milliye Square in Ankara, where people met to learn Islamic teachings from him.
Those four buildings mentioned in the video had substantial effects on economy, social life, transportation and politics in Ankara in the days of the Ottoman.